When I woke up, my father told me to make a video. I got the shoes. I'm here. I'm gonna test out the shoes. I'm gonna get a few sprints. I'm not gonna do like a full workout because it is during hot part of the day. It's like 87 degrees. I've got a little honey and some sea salt, and I've got some electrolytes I'm fixing to hit here. Go out there, maybe get about somewhere between 10 and 20 sprints. Some short sprints, some longer sprints, and stretch out the quads, the legs, just to keep them in shape. And give a little review on these shoes, since I gave you a little unboxing here at the beginning of the video. This morning, when I woke up, my father told me to make a video. So that's what I'm gonna do, is make a video. And when he first told me that, one of my first questions is, what am I supposed to make a video about? And then the rest of the information flowed in. Because initially, when you're given an assignment, there's always that little, man, you want to have that doubt. You want to have that, oh, maybe I shouldn't. You want to turn away. And that builds the disobedient side of you, is to turn away. When he told me the information, everything else about the video clicked. Because I'm the type of person that, like, when I have an assignment to do or an idea, I want to plan, and I want to do a lot of planning around it. And sometimes that planning gets so detailed and so extensive that I spend more time planning than the execution. And it's something that I've always told people is, like, you just got to get out and execute. You just need to put one foot forward in front of the other, and everything else will fall into its place. It's not a matter of always planning it out. It's a matter of knowing that he's with you and that he's going to give you his wisdom and his word. It's just you need to be obedient and start to take those steps towards the things that you need to do. So when you have an assignment that's put on you, you put the boots on the ground and you start to move forward with those things. And some of those doubts that you have, he will take care of those. And that's where faith meets the execution. And that's where you tell people to step out with some faith, because faith isn't always knowing what's going to happen. And that's kind of like the idea that was in my head this morning. It's like, what am I going to do? What am I going to talk about? How's this going to go? What kind of backdrop am I going to use? What are all this? And there's been things over the last month or so that I've been kind of putting off, things that I knew I needed to do. Perfect opportunity to go out here and test out the shoes. Now, you may not think of that as so important, which is part of what I do. The most important part is the word and the execution, and as some people would say, showing a good step of faith and showing some obedience. So that's kind of like what today's video is about. Before I get into everything else, let's go out here and get some sprint work done. Shoot, we got 8 in. Got four 100s. Stretches in between, and just done, I think, 4 right here. Caught on video. I did a takeoff and a mid sprint. The shift between gears. Tested the takeoff. How many steps? About 40 yards. And I did like a mile takeoff. Heavier sprint between around the 40 and 70 mark. The calves feel good. Quads feel good, and the rest of the legs feel good. No pull muscles. Not like the last time. Not like the last time when I got it here, but the legs are better in shape. Now it's time to recover, eat some stuff. Probably gonna hit the gym here in a little bit.
still riding. I'm gonna talk to you a little bit more.
I believe it was sometime in the month of November, because it seemed like it was getting close to Christmas time. But I was at home with my mom and my sister, and the day I woke up, I'd made really a promise to myself is to make that day a great day. And I hadn't told anybody this story. I've told maybe a couple of people that's close to me. So it's the first time for you guys to hear. So you're getting an exclusive. I made a promise to myself that day I was going to make it a great day. Because I was pretty young. Growing up as a kid, you know, your parents tell you to do certain things, and everything else is more important than what they have you to do. So I've got to finish playing this game. I've got to do this. I can't go directly to eat dinner. I can't go directly and do what they have to say. Is, you know, sometimes there's that struggle between the parent and the child, and other families experience those things just as well. But those are really simple things. As a kid, they become magnified. This is one of the reasons I speak on a lot of this stuff when I teach kids. I made a promise to myself that day to make it a smooth day. And one of the things I was going to do by making it a smooth day is listen. Just the simple things like listen and do what I'm told directly, to stop what I'm doing to go do this, to keep peace, to not talk back, to listen more than you open your mouth. One of the things I come to learn growing up is like you honor that mother and father. My father wasn't in the picture. It was just my mother. But you know, you do those things and your days on this earth will be long. But there's a difference between you knowing what honoring means and actually doing it. Because you will get distracted in so many different ways that you will wind up not doing what your parents tell you because you believe something else is more important in the moment, which is basically an illusion of the enemy. And I realized that day that was the case. But growing up, I developed the wisdom to know why there were distractions and these things would come up. But just that day of making that promise and proceeding forward, keeping peace in the household, doing the things I needed to do, doing the things I was supposed to do, just all of those things, really. And at the end of the day, and I'm not going to say I was recognized at the end of the day, but my mom did recognize it. But it wasn't a thing that she recognized something just in me. She commended just our whole family as a whole, which, you know, from a kid's point of view, it's just me and my sister. So she was commending us. She noticed and she said, this is one of the greatest days. And she said, this is what a family is supposed to feel like. This is what a family is supposed to act like. That's how we're supposed to be together. We work together, eat together, sweat together. You do all those things together as a family because your family should be the strongest unit that you have here. When she recognized it, I knew where I needed to be starting there and proceeding there and making the rest of the days feel like that one. And that's where I get a lot of my just ways. You know, it's just one of them from that moment there. The others are learned, but at such a young age, I'm not going to say life was easy, but it did get easier in some ways to proceed forward and move from there. And one of the things is just being open and truthful to others just as much as I was at home. And sometimes that rubs others the wrong way, but it always keeps me in a position to where I can eliminate other distractions outside. And those distractions usually come from people just making stories up about you. I still went through that, but I can imagine if I hadn't had certain standards of living, how those stories would have affected my life even more. And, you know, things that aren't true can still come and affect you in certain ways, which they still did. But still, I was protected, and I understand why I was protected. And I wasn't always protected because I was the one praying. I was protected because my mom was also one that was praying, and I figure there's others out there that was praying just as well. So I'm not naive to think that I'm just the one doing it all. there's others that are there that's working close with me, like my father. Very close. And when I speak about father in this video, I'm not referring to a biological father. And that's why I laugh. It's because a lot of people don't think of him as your father in that way. But if you think about him as who he is, as your father, you understand what it takes to be who you are and how you serve him and how you may serve others. Because if you can't understand how to serve him, it's very difficult to go out there and serve others. And that's why making this video today, just everything came to me. When he says, go out and make a video, I'm like, what, make a video on? What am I supposed to talk about? Just talk about me. Like, I know exactly what was meant, exactly what I need to say. And I still went into the planning mode because I wanted to plan shots out. I knew what I wanted to go do, but there's a lot of planning going on that I didn't plan to just... I knew I was going to talk on camera, but I didn't plan how, when, where I was going to talk. So I tried to not to be so planning on this one, because I knew if I overthought it, I wouldn't do the video. And for right now, I just need to get in here. I need to get a lift in, and I'm going to come back out and I'm going to talk to you guys about the rest of my life. just wait. All right.
You're confident. You're strong. You're beautiful. You're the greatest of all time.
In this life, you're either a winner or you're a loser. Y'all want to work in a steel mill like me for the rest of your days?
No, sir.
Yeah, because I sure as hell don't.
That is over. Back at home, got my post-workout done. And have you guys seen the Michael Jackson movie? If you hadn't, you've got to go see it, especially if you grew up in that area, which I did. So that's why in the movie, I've got to give a rating of a 9 out of 10. The only reason I wouldn't give it a 10 is because it could have been longer. There's a couple of things I felt they could have addressed along the way in the movie. Maybe some of the settings and things, but like, it's a really fantastic movie. Go see it if you hadn't, or maybe you just wait for it to be on video. The big screen is a lot more impressive. Watching that movie brought back memories of my childhood and growing up. And that's kind of like what I was talking about earlier, growing up as a kid and how I began to create certain types of standards and morals based on your spiritual beliefs, based on your family's past and future, and how you all built things together. When I was a kid, I had a plan, and I had a plan that I would walk through school, I would make good grades, I would get to where I was in high school, graduate with honors and always making A's, go to college, have my college paid for. I was gonna be an architect, and I was gonna graduate from the University of Arkansas in Fayetteville, and I was gonna find a job before I graduated and go right into my job, and I was gonna use a lot of my drawings that I did as a kid, and I was gonna build buildings. I was gonna create structures in different cities and make small cities into bigger cities, and I was also gonna design houses in those cities for people to live in, houses that were none like others. And I had this all written out in a plan, and I'd actually made designs of houses growing up, and I made designs of buildings growing up. I was gonna have those things. I was gonna have me a family. I was gonna get married. I was gonna have 2 kids. And just live life and then die. Sometimes we get into those thoughts of planning things out exactly how they're going to be, and along the way we lose focus, and we lose focus of details of things we need to be incorporating, how we affect others, not just yourself. So it's important to include other people within those goals. It's good to incorporate your spiritual beliefs in those goals, because you have gifts while you're here and you can use those gifts, but you should use those gifts to enhance and serve not only God but other people too, and help others along and reach down and uplift people like people have reached down and uplifted you, to return those favors. It's a lot of that detail that goes into it, and those details can be wrecked in many different ways. Having a plan like that, it was perfect. It was kind of you could say it was kind of a backbone of how you wanted things to go, which things did not go like that at all. There was a lot of diversions there was a lot of things that I would call diversions. God may not call them diversions. I'm sure he wouldn't call them diversions. I wound up being in places that he wanted me to be, and for the majority of it, I'm sure there's places he didn't, but those are the times that were struggles, and those are the things that we made it through together. Having a plan is good, but also understanding why you're doing what you're doing, and the need to do what you're doing. Because if you plan things out, that's what's left at the end is death. So while you're here, you master your mind, your body, your spirit, so you can carry things into the afterlife. And it comes down to what the channel is all about, is expression, the ultimate expression. Like, where's your ultimate expression? How do you use your gifts? How do you express yourself while you're here? How do you affect others? How do you uplift others? Those are important things. In ways that we think we affect others and help others don't necessarily look like help on the receiving end. Just the same as like when we pray for something, the prayer gets answered, but it doesn't look like what we expect it to look like. We would think our prayers hadn't been answered because it didn't look like what we wanted. And I've had those experiences just recently where you think something is going to look like this, or you're always looking to what you think is a positive answer. And those positive answers don't always line up with God's will, so you miss them. And when you miss them, you really are on a delay, and sometimes you get set back. But we struggle, but we have his assistance to make it back to the pathway that we need to be on. And we are at fault, not him. So the correction is upon us to recognize and to get corrected and proceed forward. And that's not always easy as human. That's not always easy to do, being a human. But hopefully this video gives you some thought into how you cohabitate with your father, and how you talk with your father, and the relationship that you have, and the relationship that you had, and the relationship that will be into the future, and how you will get smarter in doing it. Because you have a certain standard now, and you need to raise those standards. You always need to be learning and always need to be moving forward. One way or another, you're going to be projected forward. If you don't, maybe some tragic consequences. But that's all I got for today's video. Hadn't done a video like this in probably over a year, to where I just do a daily vlog and speak about some important things. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you have any additional thoughts, and always like, share, subscribe, and then subscribe again, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Ultimate Expression 2026.